What's going on, everybody? Sean Pierce Johnson here for another edition of Stompbox Saturday, and on the stomping block today is probably the most magical delay pedal I have ever owned, the Pigtronix Echolution. And this is version 1 of the Echolution, and I don't know what kind of voodoo is going on inside, but this has got mojo and vibe out the butt. Don't believe me? Let's take a look at it. The Echolution is probably the most magical delay pedal I've ever come across. When I was first introduced to it, it definitely had me at hello. It kind of takes the flexibility of a digital delay and the myriad of different sounds that you can get with one, but combines it with the warm, gooey and chewy, awesome analog delay that we've come to know and love. And judging by the amount of knobs and switches on the front of this thing, you can do a lot with it. The standard delay sound is controlled by the switches and these knobs on the right. You have a knob for blend, you have a knob for drive, you have a high cut knob, and then a feedback knob. And that's essentially going to govern your standard delay line. It's got tap tempo, which is really nice, so you can sync it up with the band. But the really cool thing are the switches in the middle, which allow you to add rhythmic subdivisions of the delay time. You can turn on and off trails, and you can also throw it into a looper mode as well as a reverse delay mode, which is really cool. Now, the one feature that I can't quite explain because I'm not a math scientist is the golden ratio function. It's hard to really describe what this does, and if you want to check out Pigtronix's website for, all the nerdy specifics and mathematics, if you're into that kind of thing, as to what this function does. But I guess the best way I can describe it is that it humanizes the subdivisions that are in the delay. It makes it maybe a little less precise, and it feels more like it's real rather than a machine is doing the work for you. And, well, if you're afraid of machines taking over, then you might want to go ahead and take a look at that feature. The cool part about this delay is it also includes a modulation delay circuit, which has controls for tremolo, chorus, delay time, as well as the speed of the LFO. This delay time knob has 3 different settings. With this switch right here, a short setting, a medium setting, and a long setting, and then you can turn the knob to adjust the delay time accordingly. There's also an expression pedal input on the left side of the pedal to control the modulation delay's delay time. I've said enough, so let's check out exactly how this pedal sounds. So let's take a look at what these rhythmic subdivision switches can do. Right now I have a pretty standard delay sound going on, nothing too special. The only thing really fancy about it is that it's a rather long delay time. So there's a few switches on the front that can get us some interesting subdivisions. Let's go with the 3/4 setting, and I'll play a chord, let it go, and you can hear exactly what it's done to the delay time now. So as you can hear, the subdivisions can make these really interesting rhythmic patterns in your repeats, to the point where as the delays were going on, I was starting to play within the rhythm of the repeats to kind of create a new interesting musical idea, which is really cool. And I think that's a real hallmark to this pedal, is that it's a delay pedal that doesn't just put out a delay of what you're putting into it. It can almost dictate what you put into it by what it puts out. So let's move over to the modulation delay section. Now, the cool thing about this part of the pedal is that you can get modulation style effects. Modulation effects basically being the difference of time between your original signal and the affected signal. So right now, we've got a pretty lush stereo chorus going on. And that's all just from manipulating the delay time knob on the modulation section. You can go longer than that, so why don't we check that out and what this crazy setting will sound like. So maybe we just left our record out in the sun and it's gotten a couple curves in it and it's not exactly playing right. But that's kind of the cool thing about this pedal is just how supremely flexible it is and just how awesomely easy it is to manipulate it. You can just kind of turn a few knobs and then you have an interesting tone. The modulation section is probably my favorite part of this pedal. So here's a nifty little feature about this pedal that I came across in my explorations of it. There's actually a book that Pigtronix includes with this version of the pedal with some awesome sample settings, and they all sound really, really good. And I came across this particular one called Echoplexy, and if you guys know anything about classic delay units, the Echoplex was used by a myriad of different people, from Jimmy Page to Eddie Van Halen, Eric Johnson. But one of the things that a lot of those guys used the Echoplex for wasn't necessarily just the delay effect that they could get out of it. It was the fact that the built-in preamp of the Echoplex actually enhanced the tone that they got out of their guitar and their amplifiers. And the Echolution kind of behaves in that same sort of way. It has a drive knob on it, and I got a little curious to see what it could do for my already distorted sound. So this is what I got going right now. I love it already, but let's go ahead and see what boosting the front end with the drive knob on the Echolution can do for that tone. You can hear a little bit of the delay artifacts from the pedal, but really what I love is just how it kind of girths up the entire sound that I've already got going on from the amplifier. So if you wanted to, you could use this as a really killer overdrive or boost pedal if you wanted to. So that's kind of a nifty little feature that you probably wouldn't expect to get out of a delay pedal. Well guys, that was your look at the Pigtronix Echolution version 1. I don't know what kind of mojo or voodoo is going on inside this pedal, and I'm starting to wonder whether or not it's because mine is serial number 1313. I don't know, but whatever's going on inside this box, I love it. If you guys can find version 1, I highly recommend you snag it up because it's not going to be around much longer. This is a constantly inspirational pedal. It makes me just want to play with delay all the time, and I hope that you guys loved it as much as I do. So until next time guys, Sean Pierce Johnson signing off. Happy stomping. Cheers.